Good evening. This is Emma Toops, and today is day 25 in the video series. In an earlier video, I briefly talked about the Purple Connection and how I have plans to relaunch it in a new format later this year. What I want to talk about today is the origin story of the Purple Connection. So this was in 2015, and this was also the first year of our new business, Toops Consulting. But this year was only the second year since I had come out of the military. In my first year out of the military in 2014, I had been building an insurance agency, and I was doing a lot of networking to build my network personally and for the business. And this is partly how we shifted to create Toops Consulting, because what I realized in my networking was this knowledge gap for people who were in transition. And so our work in Toops Consulting was to support students and adults who are in academic or career transition. So in 2015, I have a little bit of a reputation now for the work that I'm doing. And it was the summer of 2015, I get a voice message from a military spouse who knows us from a networking group. And she is wanting to set up a meetup for happy hour because she has an idea that she wants to talk to me about. So I text her back and I said, sure. And we set it up, and where we end up deciding to meet up is a Mexican restaurant in Overland Park, known for its tapas. So we meet for happy hour. It's kind of busy, but it's just the two of us. So we find a high top table in the bar area. And as soon as we kind of settle down into our seats, she dives right into this idea that she wants to talk to me about. She says, Emma, you know what this town needs? It needs a military-focused networking group, because people in transition don't know what they don't know, and you should be the one who leads it. My response was, oh, okay. Because one, she had just dived right into it with kind of no introduction, and she just named me as the leader of this thing. So what I said was, oh, wow. Well, thank you for thinking of me about this, but this is your idea. Why me? And she told me very directly, Emma, because you're really good at networking and you're a leader. If you do it, I'll support you. Now, just a little bit of context to her calling me a leader is, well, one, I have my own business, and she knows me from a networking group, and she knows that the work that I do in nonprofit is that I'm a leader in some nonprofits that are military supporting. So she knows the work that I'm doing, both in my for-profit and for my nonprofit work. And so she had identified me as a leader because of my reputation and what I'd been doing. So I asked her if she had any ideas about what this might look like or what this might be. And she's like, no, that's why I'm bringing it to you. It's like, oh, and because she didn't have anything really more to say about what this plan might be, we just chatted a little bit more about whatever else, finished our tapas and our drinks, and we parted ways. So I went home and I talked to David about this very interesting meeting. And I told him, so what do you think? And because of Toops Consulting being focused on supporting people in transition, we were like, geez, she's right. Let's figure out if this is something we ought to do. And so the first thing that we decided to talk about was the name. It's like, what are we going to call this thing? And I suggested it probably should have the name Connection in it, because we're talking about a networking group and we're trying to bring people together or getting connected to the resources that they need. And so I suggested, how about the Joint Connection? When I've been on deployment, you can bring all these disparate people with their expertise coming from here or there, with their service, with their nonprofit, from whatever government agency or whatever, and we call it a joint environment. But everybody's there for a common reason. We're there all for the mission. And David was like, well, the word joint kind of has some negative connotations that we probably don't want to invite misunderstanding to. And I realized, oh, yeah, you're right. We don't want to invite a misunderstanding, because the joint can refer to jail and it can refer to marijuana. So we needed a different word. I still like the idea of the joint environment from a deployment. So I immediately suggested, well, hey, we could call it the purple connection. And David liked the word purple because that's his favorite color, but he didn't understand how I immediately switched to purple to replace the word joint. And I explained that in government jargon, the color for joint is purple. But it's something that usually only people at the strategic levels of the organization are going to understand. So what I then suggested, well, people understand art. If you put together the color red and the color blue, you get the color purple. It's very practical. It's very tactical. It'll make a lot of sense. And so long story short, I developed the concept further over the summer. I ended up bringing the concept into a Kauffman fast track in early 2016. And we ended up launching the Purple Connection in the fall of 2016. We've relaunched it a couple times over the years. It was November 2020. We relaunched it in a new format during the COVID period. And we're planning to relaunch it for the third time in December of this year. So continue to follow me as I will share details as we develop the relaunch plan, and I'll share details as we get closer to it. And that's all I have for today. So I'll talk to you next time.